Well, speaking of social media, I don't know if you saw Adele lost a ton of weight, recently hosted Saturday
Yeah,
Night Live, and she looks amazing. It's fantastic to see. But there was a huge, kind of backlash on social media,
yeah,
which is crazy to think about that someone who, felt like they were overweight lost a
yeah,
ton of weight and now she's being ostracized, like where's the kind of quote fat acceptance
yeah.
for your body, Adele. What would you say about this? I mean, what are your thoughts overall? And then just what should we make of this? I mean, as a social media culture, as people.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, it's funny you asked that because I was looking at that USA Today article with a couple of friends,
Mm.
probably about 3 or 4 weeks ago. At this point, you have I think it's Rebel Wilson from Pitch Perfect that's in there too.
Yeah,
But then, if we zoom out of that for a second, you got Al Roker, you got, Kelly Clarkson, Jonah Hill. There's so many people do. Wendy Williams, John Goodman. You
yeah,
think about every single person. You got Jordan Sparks, who's lost 50 pounds in I think what 18 months.
right,
You have. I'm trying to think who else. There's so many, dude. Al Roker had gastric bypass, but he went down almost 190 pounds, and to maintain that is a nutrition phenomenon on its own. And then you have
yeah,
Jennifer Hudson, who lost about 80 pounds. It's
right.
I think the biggest thing is these people actually do a lot of work, and they have a lot of focus that goes into the wellness perspective and the lifestyles perspective and change of it. That we don't see it because they're celebrities and they're so driven by media that I think Adele said something as far as what she was doing with the diet, but it was just some of the things that she was taking notes from. There's the article right there. Um, and as soon as she said something, people pitched it to a perspective that they were like, "Hey, listen, she did this. That's why we're seeing it, and I don't know if that's safe." So I
Right.
think I don't know. I think with celebrities, I think people just make it. How do you peg that person to not do it the right way
Hmm.
when they actually do it the right way? And that's when that makes social media so difficult with that.
It gets dangerous, especially for lots of young people that really don't have the experience with the sort of criticism that is out there. And so there's criticism for being fat and overweight or obese or whatever it may be, whatever someone decides to call somebody. But there's also an equal amount of shame, it seems, for people that have lost weight and have tried to better
Absolutely.
themselves. And so it's a really fine line to walk. There really does need to be this level of maturity to be able to deal with social media on a regular basis. So I imagine, as as a coach, that gets a little dangerous, it gets a little spotty and difficult dealing with
Yeah.
people. And so again, that brings me back to why it's so important to have coaches, to have accountability, to have counsel, friends in your life that you're doing this with, because it's just so crucial that you can kind of overcome some of the noise out there.
For sure, man. And I think, lucky enough, we're getting to a point where, strong, beautiful, and like, a lot of the things that we're starting to see, social media shift to, give
Hmm.
more credit for, women with the body that they have, the strong body that they have, having a little bit of weight is not a bad thing. And, social media and
Right.
just, models and everything have painted this picture for so long that being underweight was, the ideal weight. But I think you're starting to have a lot more education behind even the celebrities who do it that are educating the youth that's coming into it. So, one of the examples that I give that's not in that article, but Jordan Sparks, who
Hmm.
she lost, I think like 52 or 54 pounds over 18 months. One of the
Amazing.
biggest things that, whether she realized it or not, when she was talking about her diet, she said that, the biggest reason I lost this kind of weight is because I didn't put emphasis on my waist size or what size jeans I was wearing. I put my emphasis on a healthier lifestyle. And
Mm,
I think that's what people need to start seeing, before they start pegging on somebody for saying, "Oh, why'd you lose that weight?" Because social media puts a stress on you that you were always, the heavier set person in that crowd. But for those people to come out and say, "Hey, no, I did it because when I go to the doctor next time, I want to make sure my blood panel comes back well." If it's
mhm.
with Adele, I want to make sure, hey, I want to live longer. I want to hit, you know, a longer career that I don't have to keep worrying about, my health or, just anything being on the line. And I think, I don't want to bring pandemic or anything into it too, but I think people need to realize that, you know, the longer we can stretch the idea of, you're doing this for a healthier you and for a less prevalent, to disease or to any kind of health issue you, um, is the more success you're going to have with it, and the less people are going to peg on you about it for you doing it.
Yeah, Deion Sanders has this little phrase he does like the "you look good, you feel good, you play good" kind of phrase. You know,
Yeah,
I really do. First of all, that's amazing. Second, and he's right. Second, I mean, really, if you eat good, you feel good, and if you feel good, you begin to look good. I mean, I really feel like that's kind of how it works. And if you think about it, even too, like there's so much with social media in terms of airbrushing your face, and then even
yeah,
with makeup, we're trying to manufacture this sort of glow that we're like a healthy, vibrant person. But if we begin to eat healthy and eat the way we were created to eat, the way our biologically we function properly, and we're able to eat this way, we begin to kind of exhibit some of those traits, that sort of glow, that sort of alertness, sleeping better. And then you begin to look good. You begin to be attractive to other people. But I think you can't put the cart before the horse and manufacture kind of looking good with like these crash diets, or
yeah.
it even worse, some sort of manipulation online.
Yeah. I think it's, in order for you to complete the circle of, just health and wellness, I think it has to be every single puzzle piece that gets lined up. And I think 99% of the time, the biggest flaw is everybody tries to, skip step 2 and 3 and jump from step 1 to 4. And that's when it becomes the most difficult piece. So it's, for somebody to say like, hey, listen, I want to just do what I do now and still play good. I want to
Hmm.
get on the field and just play like the best athlete I've ever been. If you're not taking the precautionary steps that are going to get you there, I can assure you 99% of the time, somebody else is a far better athlete than you because they are doing
Right.
those steps. It's
Hmm.
not even nutrition. You think about, the sports performance side of it. If you have somebody that's,
Hmm.
foam rolling, that's stretching, that's putting more time on self-care, that's getting massages, going to a chiropractor, it's hitting all of the check marks on the way.
Hmm.
Sure, you guys might play the same on the field for that one game, but they're going to have so much more longevity than you and consistency in how
Yeah.
they perform, than you just in that, one night to shine. So